Hey, what's up guys, Aarava here and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 12 today for the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim. You guys did miss the previous one at the British GP, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. That was a very interesting episode to say the least, a very different kind of race to the one that we'll probably be having today. But we come to Germany then finally with that one chassis upgrade that failed last episode and a gearbox reliability upgrade, or durability upgrade rather, and hopefully so we won't be having too many other gearbox issues throughout the rest of the season. Hopefully, it's a big bit of hope, but we've got some rain apparently for qualifying, so that might make things very interesting for the first time. Heavy rain maybe, so so far we've had plenty of inters weather, but we've not had full wets, the blue wall full wet tyres, so that might be intriguing to see what the difference would be with the pace. But in terms of the R&D, although we have been moving forward quite well, we've actually moved backwards a little bit this episode. You can see their Racing Point got ahead of us on paper on the R&D chart. So we'll have to see how that actually translates to on-track pace in qualifying and the race. But yeah, I mean, went through practice all fine apart from one little Sebastian Vettel-esque sort of moment there, but apart from that, we're ready. Let's go into qualifying.
Welcome to a wet Germany for today's practice session here at the world-famous Hockenheim ring. This 4.5-kilometre track is steeped in history and has been the scene of many special races over the years. We're expecting the session to start within the next few minutes. Anthony Davidson, how much time will the teams be using to make changes to the car here?
Well, don't look at me, Crofty. I was hoping for a dry session like everyone else, especially the engineers down in the pit lane. They'll be the ones with the biggest concerns, as a lot of the answers they're looking for in terms of car setup and aero balance will now have to wait until it's dry. From a driver's point of view, there's a big responsibility when driving in these conditions during a free practice session, as there's very little to gain but a lot to lose, especially if you lose control of the car and end up damaging it. And if that does happen, it can put you on the back foot for the remainder of the weekend.
Now, the intro said practice, but we are here in qualifying. Just for some reason, I have actually lost the file for the intro for the qualifying, but it's the same kind of difference because practice was wet and qualifying is going to be wet here. But we fast forward all the way to the end of Q1 this was, because we started on full wet tyres, but actually to say that I was going to experience that, I actually saw that it was going to be intermediates by the right end of the session. So the checkered flag has fallen and we've gone out in inters, so I'm yet to actually drive this Alfa Romeo car with the full wet tyres. We go to the green wall inters and we're going to really improve on the lap times that have been set so far. A few people have gone out on inters, a la kind of Sergio Perez there in the Renault, who's the fastest on the session right now, but when we cross the line, we will go fastest there. Of course, that's not a big deal. Track evolution, people getting caught out here, but at least we haven't, and Raikkonen hasn't either, so we go through. But it's always nice to be P1. It's a pretty cool sign, first time ever, I think, in a session we've been P1, top of the session there. But when you go through into Q2, and now this is where the real work begins, because it's going to be all inters now this entire session, and we want to try and get into Q3, of course. Taking it quite tentative there on that those first few turns there, trying to just speed out the power as best we can. And although, I've said before, I've had a bit more confidence in the wet compared to last year's game, and it seems like the AI maybe a little bit weaker in the wet compared to last year's game. Still, having to be cautious and just make sure we don't stuff it in a wall or anything like that. And we're now up into P5 as we go across the line, and we will make it into the top 10. Raikkonen just about makes it in P10 there compared to P11 with Nico Hülkenberg getting knocked out there. So good stuff for both us cars, but obviously, surprise, surprise, the Red Bulls looking pretty handy in the wet conditions. Pierre Gasly second place there, splitting the two Mercedes cars, so we'll see how it goes in the top 10 shootout for them. For us, a little bit slidey here. You can see a lot of lack of grip, so you can see the track definitely is a lot less wet than it was in Q2. It's definitely a bit drier. The sun is peering through those clouds on the sky. They definitely do indicate, the sun coming. The weather system has been improved a decent amount where you can kind of tell when the sun's coming through. And so you can see here just a lack of grip. It's almost like I'm on an ice rink, so it's not looking too good. At the moment, Verstappen is on provisional pole, so really good stuff there for Red Bull. But I have a hunch that it actually might be dry enough right at the death of this session to go onto slick tyres, because the water, there's some standing water, but there's no rain falling, and it's actually really looking like it's drying by the minute. So as we cross the line, it's not a very good lap time. P9, Vettel's down in P8, so it's been a very awkward session for a lot of people. But as we go through to the end of the session, I think, it's time for slick tyres. I think, the indicator says slick tyres, and we go through, and the game doesn't say I'm going to be on the wrong tyre, so we go through, and there is a decent amount of grip. You can see we've already gained so many seconds in the first sector there alone, and so everyone is going faster and faster. Bottas now puts in a purple lap time. Then it's Sebastian Vettel, so it's all kicking off now, and so I'm raring to go to see what we can do. Leclerc now is provisional pole position, so it's changed so many times. Hamilton is down to 9th place, then he goes up into 1st place, so a lot of people setting faster times. Hamilton's done 2 fast laps, I think that is, but we're right at the death. The checker flag has already fallen, so this is our one and only lap. It's been a pretty good one, though, on the top right, so we go across the line up into, I can't even tell what that was. What is it going to be at the end of it? It's a good lap, apparently. Oh, what the... Only in P10. What? My engineer said that was a good lap, and that was only P10. So that's been a bit of a calamity, actually. Way off the pace of our teammate there. So 5/10 we lost to Raikkonen. I guess, I don't know, maybe I was too cautious, you know. I was getting so much time that maybe lulled me to a false sense of security of how much time I was gaining there. And so Raikkonen thrashes me in that qualifying session. Although, as I found out at the end of qualifying, and I'm really happy I checked it this time round, my gearbox was still not changed from one of the worn gearboxes. So maybe now that was finally the gearbox actually showing some performance issues, and maybe that was the difference between the 5/10s. So for some reason, even though I broke my gearbox last race, spoiler alert, but it's been plenty of time in the episode, you would have seen the last episode hopefully by now, but it switched me to the gearbox I had at Spain, essentially, because apparently they think, yeah, that's fine. Why not just auto switch me onto a new gearbox and tell me about a penalty I need to take? So now I'm going to have to take a 5-place grid penalty, which I wasn't actually, you know, I wasn't in the mindset that I was going to take one. So now, instead of P10, it's going to be P15 then, unless other people have penalties. So that's a little bit frustrating here. But Hockenheim has always been a good Grand Prix on the F1 game for overtaking, and for general been a very action-packed race in recent years on the game. So looking forward to it still, but it's going to be a bit of a shame there. But, you know, it's too late now, so let's just go to Sunday.
There's nowhere at all I'd rather be today than here at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. We have an incredibly competitive field this year, which means we should be in for a treat. And judging by the sea of people filling the grandstands, there's a fair-sized chunk of Germany that agrees with me. It's 2.8 miles around the Hockenheim ring then, with an average lap speed in excess of 130 miles per hour. The long curved back straight leads into a tight hairpin for the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit, but there are plenty of other options available around the 17 corners here today. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about the engineer. There's a new gearbox in the back of that car, which means a grid penalty, and hopefully some excitement as they make their way through the field.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always better to take some pain now than parking it up halfway through the Grand Prix. Let's just hope they can put that new gearbox to good use and get the results they're looking for.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Verstappen, Pierre Gasly and Raikkonen, Perez, Bottas, Ricciardo and the engineer, Hülkenberg, Weber, Romain Grosjean and Butler, Russell, Magnussen, Lando Norris and Lance Stroll. Sainz and Alexander Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Right, so here we are on the grid then for Hockenheim, and I'm still in P10, so this is very, very baffling. The commentators even mentioned my grid penalty, and yet I'm still in P10, so I don't know what's actually gone on. The people behind me haven't all got penalties to the point where I'm still P10, but I'll take it, because you know, obviously I didn't even know we had to change the gearbox till very late on at the end of the session after quali had finished, so I will very much take it. So it looks like it's going to be a one-stop then, because obviously everyone has a free choice of tyre, so everyone will probably try this one-stop from the medium to hard tyre, so maybe a bit of a simpler, straightforward Grand Prix in that kind of aspect, but let's hope there's some good fighting there. It's overcast, so maybe there's some rain to come later on, you never know, but here we go then to 5 red lights to the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim. 4 lights are out, and we're underway, and it's an okay start for us, a lot better one for Ricciardo, and then initially then in 5th gear, getting a lot of oversteer, and Hülkenberg has a look on our outside there, someone looks down our inside, but we made it through into turn 1 unscathed in P10. Ricciardo going slow now after he tried to overtake Valtteri Bottas, who I don't don't remember actually him qualifying that low, but maybe he did, and he's now very slow in P9 there and having to fend off a Renault, which is kind of weird. But we go down the inside of Ricciardo, and we've done him already, and we're P9. And look at this, a big gaggle of cars here, including my teammate, I think that is just ahead of them all, but it's Gasly v Perez v Bottas there. And where on earth can we go? Raikkonen's now side by side with Perez. We go around the outside of Bottas and Gasly there. We now see Raikkonen ahead of us. We're going to try and get a toe off him, and we get a great exit on Gasly, go aggressive and cut across him there and get up into P7. So a fantastic start for us. Raikkonen slow as Perez has done him down the inside of that right-hander on the traction zone out the hairpin. But I don't know what on earth's gone on with Gasly and Bottas there, but they're very slow at the very start of this Grand Prix. Eventually Bottas will get Gasly. He's right behind us now, chasing after us as we try and chase after Raikkonen. So that's applying the pressure to me to get the move on, get the hurry on to Raikkonen. And Perez is waltzing away from Kimi, so that Renault showing some good pace in the hands of Sergio Perez at least. We go through the last corner. A lot of understeer, the dirty air kicking in off Raikkonen's rear end, and so that's going to allow Bottas to shoot one to the inside there. Very late move there by Bottas. He gets very aggressive there, pushes us wide. We get back onto the track though, and we're going to push back and try and see if we can try and attack him and continue on. We break a little bit early, try and get a tighter line maybe to try and scrap the car faster for this back straight here and try and get a toe off him. We'll have DRS. Will he have DRS from Kimi? Yes, he will. And so we open up the rear flap, but right now nothing's going to happen there on that lap actually. We move on to lap number 5. The sun is fully out now, so forget about the rain coming down. It looks like it's been a pretty straightforward one-stop sunny race here at Hockenheim, but it's definitely not straightforward in terms of fighting because Bottas is making a move on Raikkonen. We'll make a move on Raikkonen as well to the inside of both cars. Can we make a double pass to re-overtake the Finn? Both Finns, in fact. It's a lock-up on the front right tyre, and Bottas does the switchback move on us. It's now a case of a traction v traction, and we actually out-traction the Mercedes car. We go very aggressive and very much defend our position with all our might in P6, and Bottas has to back out of that. But now we move on to lap number 6. Here's a great run off turn 1, and now I don't have much to fight for because Raikkonen's kind of got away from us. We break a little bit early, try and get the switch on him to try and get the title line once again, and unlike the last time I did that, this time we'll have a great exit, DRS open, and we're going to get Bottas back here. So a bit of a Wily or Fox kind of play, you know, on purpose, making him let him go through because I know I can get the DRS and re-overtake him essentially on the next straight. But there's only a finite amount of laps you can actually keep on doing that before you have to eventually just give in to the place because they're faster. And so Bottas comes through on lap 7. We've got no DRS this time. He does, and he's overtaken us. That time I really couldn't back out that much because I literally would have had to lift off and let him through by about a half a second there to let him back through and get the DRS off myself. So that time Bottas gets us fair and square, and we're down to P7, and now we're maybe coming under pressure from Kimi Raikkonen. We're in high ERS mode, which is pretty good still for deployment, but Raikkonen's coming at us at a rate of knots with DRS, of course, which we did not have off Bottas, and so he's on the outside. We understeer a little bit into that corner, and so we tap tyres there on the left-hand side, but we'll get the traction down, and we'll look behind and see Kimi slotting behind, but will he have a little look on the outside maybe for this next left-hander? No, he won't as we go through that right-hander. He backs off there at the apex, and we're going to remain in P7 for now, but lap number 9, and will he come back once again? No, Lewis Hamilton is out of this session. That's what we're watching in this clip there, and so that'll be one free position because Hamilton is parked up there on the right-hand side, and we're going to be up the order into P6. Raikkonen in P7 there, so good start for us. So one free position there on lap number 9, and we're going to get another free position very soon because Sebastian Vettel was going to splutter to a halt at his home Grand Prix with an engine failure for the Ferrari car, so that's 3 laps later on lap number 12, and there he is, out confirmation there on the top of your screen, and so we're going to be up into P5 soon enough. He set the fast lap of the Grand Prix so far on the first 12 laps, so it's a bit of a shame there for Vettel. I think he must have been leading, I would reckon, I think, with the fast lap of the Grand Prix there, and so we're up into P5, and Raikkonen now is P6, so really can't complain right now how this race is going. But onto lap 14, making a bit of a mistake there, going too deep into the corner, breaking a little bit too late at the hairpin. Raikkonen gets that move done to the inside, but we're going to switch back on him and get the better line off the corner, get the acceleration down, and we're going to be back up into P5, but it looks like there might be a good scrap brewing with Raikkonen as we go defensive, and again, we're late on the brakes, too late on the brakes. We lock up, and we've done that twice now, so maybe the tyre wear is kicking in, I don't know, but 2 issues in a row, can't be a coincidence there. Look at the tyre screen, they are a little bit worn to be fair, so need to watch out for that. That's 2 really bad mistakes that allows Raikkonen back through, and so he's up into P5. We're going to have to try and chase after that and re-overtake him there. Also, meanwhile, I just only noticed that Sergio Perez is still doing a stunning job in that Renault of his in P4 right now as we now climb back up into P5 with DRS. Easy does it. and we're back up the order ahead of Raikkonen. But for how long if those mistakes keep coming through? As we move on to lap 16 then, we've got some pit stops for the top guys there. Leclerc is just coming out of his pit stop. There we go, very wide with the tyre wear kicking in. So I think it's time for us to come in on this next lap, to be honest, with how wide we went there at turn 1. Didn't gain too much time though because I lifted off, and also you get the curb kind of slowing you down a little bit. And as we go through that next left-hander, I think it's probably time to come in. So we are going to come in on that next lap, lap 16. Raikkonen will continue on for one more lap. So I'm hoping the undercut will work out for us, and hopefully the overcut is not a thing at Hockenheim, but I don't know if Raikkonen was holding back or not. Behind me there, but we've got Perez also in ahead of us there, so he's quite some way ahead of us. I don't think we'll be seeing him for the rest of this race, to be honest. He's got some lightning pace, and it looks like more so than anything, it looks like we might have a race-long battle with our teammate for P5 and P6, but we come out now on those hard tyres, and that'll be the tyre we see through to the end of the Grand Prix. Hulkenberg has overtaken me in the Racing Point car, so he's undercut me. So actually that's a little bit worrying then. So maybe Raikkonen will really lose out on this because he's gone for one more lap. He might actually find himself behind that Renault of Ricciardo in the background there if he's not watching himself and he doesn't have such a good in-lap there. But we're going to go ahead and slipstream and re-overtake Hulkenberg in a straight line. Obviously, was a little bit worrying we got behind him, but no matter. The pace is good in a straight line. We can just get him very easily, and we back up into our position. And now we watch on for where Raikkonen's going to come out, and he will come out ahead of Ricciardo. So that's great for his sake, maybe not for mine, because I would have rather actually Ricciardo be between us to be a bit of a hurdle, because Raikkonen seems to have some very decent pace, and he's keeping me very honest in this Grand Prix. But the entire way then ahead of me is Sergio Perez there, still in P4. Then P3 is going to be Valtteri Bottas then. Second place is obviously going to be Verstappen, who inherited that second after Hamilton and Vettel went out respectively. And then who leads the way is that Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Looking very good at the moment for the race win potentially. But we're going to move back to our POV then, lap 20, 14 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and Raikkonen will come back at us. So it really has been an Alfa v Alfa affair for most of this Hockenheim German GP. But where is he going to go? To the inside. We're going to squeeze him a little bit, then stay to the outside, potentially get a switch back on him, or maybe just go the long way around. We'll see. No, we're going to switch it and just try and straighten the car. It doesn't work out fully how I wanted to, but we do get the power down a little bit earlier than him, so it still kind of works out to straighten the car. And there we go, down the inside. Have to lift off a little bit to make sure he's going to give us the room. Wasn't too sure about that, and Raikkonen's going to hang us out to dry though on the outside. We have a look on the left hand side, but he jolts to the left as well and blocks that off, and also slows himself down through that next right hander, and forces me to go over the curb a little bit there, because I thought he was going to go a little bit quicker off that exit on that right hander, I can't lie. So Raikkonen pulling out all the stops to defend against me and slow me down. Just hopefully we don't fight too much, that Ricciardo joins the battle, because that would be a little bit unfortunate after such a great race and a good position that we're both in if it's going to be ruined. But we fake to the right, go to the left then, and dart to the outside. Again, we'll try this to straighten the car a little bit faster than he will, and again it'll work out, not initially, but then on the second phase of the acceleration up into 5th gear, 6th gear, there we go, down the inside right hander again. It's deja vu right now with the exact same scenario as the previous lap, but we brake early this time, switch it to the left, and we are going to get the jump on him, but Raikkonen's going to swipe across and pushes towards the grass and nearly fully off the circuit there. So Raikkonen getting very, very handsy with us there, and it's all turned a little bit frosty there. So Raikkonen really getting the elbows out and does not want to give up the P5 position. I mean, fair play, but that was a little bit too much over the line there. We had him, we had the traction on the inside slip to the switch to the left-hand side, and he just completely just disregarded the fact that we're there alongside him before that kind of curb came about there, and the grass area comes about on the left-hand side of that part of the track. So we'll try again then. Lap 25. It takes us a few laps to actually regain our composure and come back at him, but this time I want to nail him absolutely into the hairpin. We're going to go to the inside. He goes to the middle. That doesn't faze me. We go to the inside, then we're going to go wide on purpose, lock up on the front right tyre, and we're just going to slow the wheel down and squeeze him out. And then in turn, unfortunately, that's going to allow Ricciardo to overtake him, but you know, it had to go that way because I needed to completely squeeze him out and show him who's boss there and get that position and book it in. But unfortunately that means Ricciardo is ahead of him, but here's hoping Raikkonen can just re-overtake him and we can still finish in a good P5 and 6 and not a P5 and P7, and that's hopefully what will happen right now as we go through the next few laps of this Grand Prix towards the end of the GP. And Ricciardo is going to be a bit of a sitting duck. He doesn't have DRS off me. We've broken that 1 second barrier, and so Raikkonen will be the only one with DRS down this straight, and he's going to pull alongside. Jeez, wow, Ricciardo squeezes him quite a lot there to the right hand side, but Raikkonen is unfazed just like I wasn't down the inside when I overtook him, and he's back up into P6. So that's all ended kind of happily in the end for us. So Leclerc will win the Grand Prix. Perez has done a massive job in P4 for Renault, but we're going to come home in a pretty decent P5 and 6, I would say. A hard fought P5, especially against Raikkonen there, so pretty damn happy with that, especially after how qualifying went.
point, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Here's our winner, pulling their Ferrari into Parc Fermé. What a fantastic race it was. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it.
That was a good race for Lucas. Are you pleased to see him doing well?
A question about Lucas Weber, who we didn't see too much, but apparently had an okay race. So obviously my former F2 teammates are going to play it kind and kind of compliment him there. Always good to see him do well, of course.
You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Yeah, we gained a lot of positions there, and the power unit was working wonders off that left hand on the back straight there, so they've got to compliment the engine department. I'll gushy them up a little bit.
You're surpassing all expectations. Can anything or anyone stop you?
And it's a classic question post-race there. Going to go with the classic answer, unless there's a movable object. No, don't think so.
You had a close battle today, didn't you?
Yeah, a bit too close, obviously, with the contact and pushing me off the circuit. So too close, a bit of a thorn in my side in that race, but not in general, just in that race, I'm saying.
Appreciate your time.
So another really solid race there for Alfa Romeo Racing. Of course, beaten by one Renault, but we beat the other one. So overall, not too bad to try and maintain that kind of edge we have on Renault in the constructors' title. We remain in that P8 and P9. The only swap is Leclerc moving ahead of Vettel and Hamilton there. But I only just noticed Bottas has a pretty decent commanding lead in the championship. This is in season 1. But yeah, all remains put in the constructors, apart from Williams overtaking McLaren. So Lucas Weber must have had an actual good race because they've overtaken McLaren there. So McLaren quite woeful at the moment, season 1. Obviously, if you haven't guessed already, guys, I've pre-recorded a lot of these races. I'm actually, as I speak right now, I'm actually on holiday right now abroad, so I've pre-recorded a lot of these races, so that's why you may not see McLaren have much of a performance boost if they did do a day 1 patch until I come back from that holiday. So just a little note there of why McLaren is still that woeful. But obviously, it is a game, so sometimes things will come back. I'm sure McLaren will come back into things later down the line in next seasons of career mode. But we look through the R&D then, and we're trying to suss out what upgrade I want to do next, really, because I didn't really know which one to go for there. We had drag, we had some major aero as well. In the end, I thought, it's been a while since we've done aero, actually, it felt like, so we'll go for a front major aero upgrade, and that's all we can actually afford this episode, unfortunately. So it's only one upgrade, but it is a major, so that should come in handy. Overall, pretty damn awesome German GP, I'd say, and a great battle with Kimi, apart from the little contact, but sometimes that happens when you have two teammates that are fighting very hard for the same piece of tarmac. So guys, if you did enjoy that episode, be sure to smash that like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below. If you're new and here to subscribe for weekly Fallen content, I've been aarava. Hope you enjoyed this day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.